Hello. I'm possibly at some kind of a jaunty angle with the sunshine coming directly just onto my face and nowhere else, but I've messed around with the camera enough, so I'm just making a start. Hello, welcome back to the channel. Unfortunately for you all, it's back to just me at the moment. Obviously all the Horrortober readings are over now, and I really hope that you enjoyed all of that. Got some excellent feedback. A few people had said that they had been interested in perhaps the books, like maybe from Joshua Marcella or Tim Meyer, and they hadn't actually heard them before, so they went ahead and bought stuff, which is exactly what I wanted. So really pleased with the feedback on that, and hopefully a few authors have got some sales and a few readers have found someone new. So that was my entire hope for the whole endeavour. So I thought that I would do an October roundup of what I read. So the books that I'm going to briefly mention today are either books that I started and finished in October, or some of them that had just taken a little bit longer, so I'd previously started but finished in October. Especially ones that are on my Kindle, sometimes I just take forever to read, and it's nothing to do with the book, it's just that I dip in and out of stuff on Kindle. I'm terrible. Okay, so in no particular order, but I will do it with the lowest ratings first. The only one of the 8 or 9 that I'm going to talk about that I gave a 3-star. And I can't say too much about this one. I was sent this one, Pandemonium, by Leo Dark, from Grinning Skull Press, for review for Scream magazine. So this will be one of the books that I review in the December issue of Scream. So I can't say too much about it now, other than I did enjoy it. It's book 1 in the 101 Ways to Hell series, so there will be more. And you'll have to buy the December issue of Scream magazine to find out a little bit more about this one, but there will be more to come on this. The next one is a 4-star, and it could have easily been a 5-star. The only reason that I gave it just 4 rather than 5 was because it's so teeny weeny. And that is Bright and Enchanted Suffering, 2 Macabre Tales by Eric Laraca. Another arc that was very kindly sent to me by Eric himself. Nice signed one there. He also sent it to me with the premise that if I liked it, and if I was able to perhaps give him a blurb. So what I can say about both of these stories is that I bloody love them. He is, I believe, a newer writer. I think he does have one more book out already, and then this is obviously the new one. Now, whether he has actually been writing for years and years, and this is the first time he has had stuff published or out to the public, I'm not sure, but he certainly writes like someone who's been doing it for years. I watched a video that Kevin did, Well Red Beard, and he likened him to Matheson, and I actually likened him to Poe. So I'm not going to say too much more, because Ben Long from Reads Vicarious and myself are going to do a full review written on each other's blogs, and a video review again of this one, but just know that this is brilliant. Okay, the next book was another arc actually that I received from the author, and this was Captain Clives' Dreamworld, that I received in the mail from John Bassoff. And so far these 3 have all come from either the publishers or the authors themselves, and all from America as well. And when I get it in the post and it's got the postage on it, it's $25 to send something over to me. And a lot of times, especially if it's an indie press, and especially if it is the author him or herself sending me things, I always say, do you realise that I'm in the UK? Because it's not like popping it in the mail here for like 2 or 3 quid. You know, $25 is a lot to send it to someone who may or may not like it, and may or may not even mention it. So I just want to add that I'm always massively appreciative appreciative of when I get something in the post from America especially, because it must put the authors out of pocket. And I know that they weigh things up against exposure and promotion, all that kind of stuff, but still, thank you to anybody who sends me stuff from anywhere, the UK as well, but especially when it comes from the US. Okay, so I got this one, and the first thing I was told was that it was a mixture of all kinds of different stuff. There was some Lynchian stuff, there was some Twin Peaks stuff, there was horror, there was sci-fi, there was also noir, crime, all sorts of things going on. But it's set around a theme park, and the town that's built around the theme park, that is meant to be like this perfect place. Now, anyone who knows me knows that horror is my genre that I read, that I write, that I watch, and all of that kind of stuff. But my other big love, apart from my family, is Disney, especially Disney World, and especially Celebration, the town that Walt built for the workers of Disney World. So I went into this thinking, is it gonna, you know, is it going to be too on the nose? Is it just going to be constant ripping Disney apart and all of the things that I love? It did, but in a way that it was still enjoyable. So I would say, if I liked this book, as a huge Disney fan, we were meant to be there this year for our 10th trip, which has been postponed to next year now, fingers crossed. If I enjoyed this, and if I could see past the kind of taking the piss out of Disney and all that kind of stuff, then most people will really enjoy this. So I gave this one, I only gave him 4 because I can't give something that was, you know, not being particularly kind to Disney a 5, but it's very well written. Another teacher, and I just have such respect for writers that are teachers, having worked in the teaching profession myself as well. So I will be checking out more of John's stuff. I know that Sadie actually told John to send this to me, so another massive thank you to Sadie Mother Horror for all of the things that she's done for me and people she put me in touch with. But I know that she's a big fan of John, so I will be picking up some more of his stuff. So that one was a 4. Okay, another arc. I do buy books, I promise. This one was sent to me directly from Flame Tree, and they asked me to be part of the blog tour for this as well. It was already on my radar because of the lovely Glenn Rolfe, who had done a interview with John, and they had a real long chat, and John just seemed like a super cool guy anyway. But what I find, whenever Glenn raves about something, then that's just me sold anyway. I picked up Magpie Coffin because of Glenn. I picked up Clown in a Cornfield because of Glenn. How amazing is that? 2 of my top 10 books of the year. So there were a couple of things when I knew about this book anyway. Apart from the fact that John seemed really cool and Glenn loved it, was also the fact that it's set in New Orleans. And that's another link actually for me in Disney World, because when we stay in Disney World, we always stay at Port Orleans, which is obviously themed on the whole with the bayou and all rustic like New Orleans, and has links with the Princess and the Frog film, Princess Tiana, which is one of our favourites. So I actually collect, I've got underneath the horror stuff, I've actually got loads of Tiana things as well, so I actually collect stuff to do with New Orleans and the Princess and the Frog, and voodoo and all of that kind of stuff really interests me. This is actually billed as a supernatural thriller rather than straight horror, and it does involve crimes that are happening and detective work and all that kind of stuff. And again, for anyone who knows me, I used to be a police officer, obviously in England, not in America, so a bit different. But and that was another thing with the Captain Clives. Actually, he's a cop, so I do like things to do with cops because I used to be one, so I have an interest in that. I absolutely love this. Ended up giving this one 5 out of 5. and was first on the blog tour for it. So it was John's first. There's 2 Johns, I got confused for a minute. John's 5 out of 5 on there, so he was ever so grateful too. So love that. So thank you, John, and thank you Flame Tree for that one. Shockingly, I'm just and this is another arc, but then I have got some ones that I've bought. Okay. I saw this book appear on basically every single booktube channel that I follow, and whenever I saw this picture and heard the blurb, I was insanely jealous. I was like, that is absolutely beautiful. Who is this TC Parker, and where do I get a copy of this? And because I'm dumb and I just didn't realise. So I'd also been chatting with a lovely lady on Twitter called Natalie, and I must have mentioned something about seeing this book everywhere and that I wanted to get my hands on it somehow, and I wasn't quite sure, and she was like, oh, should I send you a copy? And I was thinking to myself, well, that's very kind of you, but how have you got a copy of TC Parker's book? Then I realised that Natalie Edwards is TC Parker. So we've since become actually really good friends, and she's very naughty, and she has sent me all 4 of her books. And I went into this one not reading it because she's now become a friend of mine, but because she was kind enough to send it to me, and because I kept seeing pictures of it, and I hadn't listened to any reviews though. I knew that again, Kevin had done a review and Ross Jeffrey had done a review, but I refused to watch anything until I read it for myself. I will tell you now that I loved it so much that this was an immediate 5 out of 5. And I am hoping to sub this for review for Scream for February magazine. That's how much I loved it. The whole premise of the book is brilliant. Everything about it is wonderful. I read it. It's not a short book. It comes in exactly 300 pages, and I read it in like just a few days because I literally was like, cannot put this down. Page turn, page turn, page turn, page turn. Absolutely fantastic. I have her new one, Oppressive Feathers, here, plus her crime books, which she does actually write under the name Natalie Edwards, and I shall be really looking forward to getting to them. Keenan Patrick Burt does the beautiful artwork, and you know, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but sometimes books are so beautiful, much like with Cameron Rabique's stuff that he did for like Autumn Crow. Sometimes you do judge a book by its cover, and in this case it was the cover that made me want it, and now I love it and love Natalie as well. So